We got the Scoop Master, Uncle TiVo in the house. Get ready, y'all.
What is up, defects? Like Matt said, we have TiVo from Lords of the Long Box himself, the original Spec Master in the house for this awesome edition of Defect Spec. We got some books coming to you. We got some deep diving books. We got some books more for beginners, and we got books from my man TiVo down here. So get excited, sit back, crack open a beer. It's time to go to school.
All right. Since we're gracious hosts over here, I'm gonna throw it to TiVo first. TiVo, what's up, buddy? Good to have you on the channel. We've been on some live shows with you, but never recorded video. What's going on?
Yeah, I've had you on my show doing a cover price show, and
That's right.
apparently you had trouble reading. So I was like, reading is fundamental. What are you gonna do? But I've been Matt and Jay, the other guy, Nikolai. Fucking with you guys for a minute, man. Can I curse on here?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, I've been fucking with you guys for a long time now. We're all part of the same clique, so it's like. It's all good, man. We're gonna talk about some stuff. I don't normally, I guess, spec on my own channel. I just kind of, because I don't want to. I guess I don't want to be accused of a dirty flipper, do I? I don't give a fuck. Fuck it, I'm a dirty flipper. Anyway,
embrace it.
embrace the flippage.
That's it. People know when you're real and when you're not. People aren't stupid. They got their eyes open. So, and by the way, all right. We do improv better, right? We're off the cuff. We don't do we don't read off the script. So you threw me a script, it threw me off. All right. all right. So people want to hear us chat, but they want to hear the book. So TiVo, are you ready? I'm going to throw up some slides. Let's take it away.
Yeah. First, I preface this by saying these are books you wouldn't normally think of spec, but as I always say, read the tea leaves, see where the market is going, and it kind of makes sense in a way. If and you'll see if I try to kind of explain what my thinking is.
Let's start it up.
That's right. This is Avatar, the Free Comic Book Day. This is the first appearance of the Blue Man Group in Avatar, right? So when this book came out, nobody gave a shit. Avatar obviously did huge numbers. And back in 2017, movies that were not based off of comic books, that were adaptations, nobody really cared, right? But in 2021, or going back to 2020, these kind of books seem to be the thing now. As soon as somebody hears a movie is coming out, they immediately look to see if there was ever a comic book made for it. And the interesting thing about this book was James Cameron was at New York City Comic-Con talking about this. And then there was a Free Comic Book Day. And then there was another series after this, but really nobody really cared. So this is one of those, I think it's no harm, no foul. It's a really cheap book, but we know how Avatar fans are. They are a rabid fan base. And with the new Avatar movie coming out, there's tons of hype on it. And you guys see now, like, if you look at He-Man or Transformers or any of these books that typically weren't really high value dollar books are all of a sudden getting bumps. Why not get this Avatar book? It's not easy to find, but if you do find it on eBay, they're relatively cheap.
I like it, man. This is a good pick. It's like you said, the second Avatar movie's coming out. When the first one came out, I mean, the comic spec game wasn't where it is today, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
This is a book like when you took the words out of my mouth. I was listening to you, and this is a book that people didn't give a shit about before, but now it's going to be one of those books that you're going to see. I like this pick. This is a good pick.
So what's interesting about this is this takes place before, during, and after the Avatar movie. So there could be some first appearances there. I mean, because I'm pretty sure James Cameron was like, he didn't write it, but he was part of it because, obviously he wanted to keep true to his vision. James Cameron is a total control freak when it comes to his properties. So this is one of those things, man. It's like if the movie comes out and does gangbusters, people, if you guys watch our show and we do a top 10 and every couple of weeks something gets optioned that wasn't a comic book, but it's on there now, especially like video games. So if you think about those Mario books and all these other weird books,
It's so funny you said that to both of you because back in 2017 is different than collecting now. Now in 2021, video games come out. We look for that first appearance in comic books. Toys come out. We look for that first appearance. He-Man cartoons, Transformer cartoons, like you said, anything nostalgic. And, this is right down that pipeline with a movie. Like you said, tons of fans. It's a Dark Horse comic book, which got really hot with Star Wars recently. So great pick, man. Like you said, read the tea leaves.
Yeah, I mean, movie spec, even if it's not originally a comic book. I mean, here's a weird example. Nobody gave a shit about the Phantom Menace comics, right? The prequel comics, but hey, they're fetching pretty pennies now.
Absolutely. And in case we didn't mention it earlier, but in case you don't know TiVo, he's got his own YouTube channel. So we're gonna obviously have a link in the description. This is what he does. He does scoops. He does specs. He does the cover price, movers and shakers, the hot 10 list. You guys definitely want to check out his channel, but he'll talk more about that later on. I just wanted to give him a quick little plug mid video. And also, usually we preface the video with this, but these are books that we are picking up, we are speculating on. We're not telling you to run out and buy these, go to eBay. This is stuff that we're picking up for ourselves because we believe in these based on research. And that's what we do here. We don't throw shit against the wall and hope it sticks. So usually I say it at the beginning, but we forgot. So
there you go.
We're not perfect. Okay.
Sometimes shit does stick on the wall, depending on how much fiber you got. You know what I mean?
This is true. This is true. All right. Next up, this is my pick. So Hawkeye Blind Spot #1 from Marvel in 2011. So we know the Hawkeye series is going to be coming out on Disney Plus pretty soon. And there's been a lot of rumors circulating around Barney Barton, Clint's brother, and as a villain, as possibly not maybe the main bad guy, maybe a bad guy in the series. I talked previously about his first appearance, which is, I'll show you right now. Barney Barton first appears in Avengers #64, Marvel 1969, but he doesn't appear as a villain, quote unquote, trick shot until Hawkeye Blind Spot #1. Basically, the story goes that Baron Zemo, the original trick shot is Clint's mentor, and he gets essentially killed. Baron Zemo kind of manipulates Barney into taking up the mantle of trick shot and basically going against Clint, Hawkeye. So this is a cheap book. This is a relatively cheap book. This is one I wouldn't like bet the farm on this, but this is one of those books that goes from like $5 to like $30 or $40 if Barney Barton shows up. Even if he doesn't show up as trick shot, people are going to speculate that at some point we may see him as trick shot. He shows up in costume as trick shot in like the last 2 pages of this book. It's kind of convoluted because we got Barney Barton in Avengers back in 1964, and then you don't get trick shot until Hawkeye Blind Spot #1. He actually doesn't refer to himself as trick shot until #3. So it's kind of like, but I think #1 will be the one that people go after since it's not like first appearance cameo. Like his first appearance was way back, and then he gets in costume in this one. So I'm going to say that Hawkeye Blind Spot #1 will be the book for trick shot. A good book to have. You could pick it up cheap. I know I've been buying them up cheap because there's been some rumors about Barney Barton being in Hawkeye. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think anything Hawkeye, Kate Bishop related is just flying off the shelves. You know what I mean? I mean, especially with the trailer that dropped, got some really cool Christmas Die Hard vibes to it. You know what I mean? I think it really surprised people where it was. I mean, he's, remember that Avengers skit where Hawkeye was useless? You know what I mean? But it's almost like nobody knew he had a family. And then we see it in Avengers, was it Age of Ultron? He has a wife and kids, right? And then, that just goes to show you Marvel digs deep when they go into this. They dig deep when they go into this. So I think this is, for the price, and plus it's a dope cover.
Yeah,
It is dope.
absolutely. Yeah, I know. And like you guys said, Christmas time, what better time to introduce family into Clint's life, right? You're going to see a ton of different stuff. So, Matt, again, a book on the cheap, definitely worth a pickup. And it's a first appearance. How do you say no to that?
Yeah.
Oh, and one more tie-in I forgot about is Swordmaster. We know Swordmaster is confirmed for the Hawkeye series, and there's a big tie in this storyline with Swordmaster as well. So these are all characters, you know, Swordmaster, Baron Zemo, Hawkeye, rumors of Barney. So this, to me, this makes sense, and it's a cheap risk. So, all right, Tivo, you're up again.
My second book on the list is kind of same theme, man. There's going to be another Indiana Jones movie. And this is the first appearance of Indiana Jones in the comic books from Marvel from 1983, which takes place, I think, in between films or something along those lines. But this is one of those things where when you see the trailer for Indiana Jones, people go, I wonder if there's a comic book for it. What is Indiana Jones' first appearance? So this is the further adventures of Indiana Jones. This is back when Marvel had just weird properties, right? They had like Time Bandits. And they had the weirdest properties that they owned, or at least could publish through comics. And this is super cheap, super cheap. But the way we've been seeing the market going, people are going to buy this as a first appearance. If I'm pretty sure it's the first appearance. When I did my research, the Further Adventures of Indiana Jones #1 is the first appearance of Indiana Jones in a comic book. There's also some rumors like in the comic where it's Indiana Jones has a sister, and I'm trying to remember if she appears in the comic or not. But either way, this is one of those things. Like anytime you hear a movie getting made or a reboot, especially now, because it didn't matter 2 years ago, but 2021 has totally changed that, you know. And I want to add a bonus book on here that I didn't tell you guys about. That you don't have a graphic for. It's kind of a pricey book, but for the wrong reason. Okay. So it's the Free Comic Book Day Clone Wars book, which is the first appearance of Savage Oppressed, or whatever her name is. You know what I'm talking about? Well, it's a flip book. And guess what's on the other side of that? It's the first appearance ever of Avatar: The Last Airbender. With that with that series coming out right now, I looked at CGC. It was right around 9.8, is right around $300-$400. But Avatar fans are huge, right? You know, Savage Oppress, I think is her name. Is, if you remember, the cover has like like it looks like Darth Maul, but like a yellow faced Darth Maul.
Oh yes,
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a Free Comic Book Day book, but people got it for the first appearance of Savage Oppress. Now, I think that's her name, but on the other side, it's one of those flip books where you flip it over and you turn it over and it's another story. Well, that happens to be the first appearance of Avatar: The Last Airbenders ever in comics. And then they wanted to do some more comics after that. I would also say look for Korra, but with I believe it's a Netflix series coming up. I think that's another one. I mean, for $400 for a 9.8, you may think that's kind of expensive, but they're only buying it because of Star Wars. Add on to that double spec of Savage Oppress, I hope I'm saying her name right, and Avatar: The Last Airbender, because Avatar: The Last Airbender is not only cult following, it's a worldwide cult following.
Oh, hell yeah.
Of fans, right? Like the animated series, The Legend of Korra, everything. So little people know that there is a flip book on the other side of that Free Comic Book Day for Clone Wars.
The double spec book.
Yeah, I threw that in there last minute. I was like, I only get 2. I'm just going to surprise the fellas.
Hey, I mean, we could have done more. I mean, listen, you're going to have to come
You'd
back.
always
We'll
add
have to do some
you
more.
always add the graphic later, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, in my brain, I'm like, yeah, I'll throw that up after the edit. Yeah, I feel like this Indiana Jones book, we've probably all passed in a back bin about 100 times in our lives, right? And so,
last up, me, right? Fantastic Four number 244 from July 1982, written and illustrated by John Byrne. Guys, for you, all of you that don't know what this is, a lot of you know what this is and have this book, but those of you that don't, it's the first appearance of Frankie Ray as the second Nova. In this issue, she becomes the Herald of Galactus. Little brief history on Frankie Ray. She had a relationship with the Human Torch, Johnny Storm, who basically shared the same powers as her. She joined the Fantastic Four for a little bit as an additional Human Torch. Bringing in Galactus, right? We all think Galactus is coming to MCU. We all hope Galactus at some point is coming to the MCU. Despite his oath to spare the Earth, Galactus had become weak and felt no other option than to devour the Earth and break his oath, until Frankie Ray stepped up and volunteered to become the Herald if he spared Earth. Galactus agreed and allowed him to keep his oath, and Ray became the Herald and received the cosmic power and became the second Nova. So Nova right in the middle, right? I like this book, guys. We all know that Frankie Ray first appeared in that Fantastic Four number 164, but I believe this is the book to get. Matt, while you have that up, a Fantastic Four 164, her first appearance in a CGC 9.8, last sold for $1,155 in
Went up a lot.
March of 2021. But you could find raw copies like that are very fine to near mint online for from anywhere from $100 to $150. So a book worth picking up. The 244 CGC 9.8 sold for $1,000 in August of 2021 this year. But you could find this book raw, guys, from $50 to $75 in good condition. I suggest, listen, I pick these up whenever I find them for a good price. It's a great cover. I love Frankie Ray.
So this run is one of my favorite runs of John Byrne that started in issue 232, I believe, right? And this is a 3-story arc, actually. So the beginning, I think in 242, it's told in a flashback. Johnny Storm comes to his lady friend's apartment. He's like, heartbroken, and he's like, Frankie left me. And then they tell the story of what happened. Jay, you're right. She is coming to MCU because we had Frankie Ray on a long-term spec list. The story, they're going to be adapting that story, and she's going to be Johnny Storm's love interest in that's what Feige wanted to do. And this was, when we had the long-term spec list like a year or 2 years ago, that, when they introduced it, when they introduced this story of Galactus, Frankie Ray and Johnny Storm would have a relationship. And, Marvel loves to do the whole family and love torn things. And this would be a way to break Johnny Storm's heart, is to have her into it, right? I've seen people, these other speculators talk about, all kinds of weird things about, what was that one? Not Terrax, but the other, one. But they're definitely going to do Frankie Storm. Now, if they name her Nova, I don't know. When I had the long-term spec list, all I had was the name Frankie Ray. Maybe they call her Supernova. But it's a little bit too close to the name Nova. And, Marvel doesn't want to confuse the general movie-going audience. So I'm thinking maybe, but we definitely, our man Mikey Sutton said he had a long-term spec list of characters, and Frankie Ray was one of them.
Yeah, and not long after she's Herald, she's actually killed, and then she comes back. She reappears on Earth, and who does she have ties to? She has ties to She-Hulk and Monica Rambeau, 2 characters that we know are, one's in the MCU already, the other one is coming.
Thanks for having me on Press with Defects. Appreciate you guys. You guys are rocking it. You guys are killing it. You guys can find me and the rest of the Lords of the Long Box every Tuesday and Thursdays on Lords of the Long Box with our cover price top 10, a cover price shaker show. And then Sunday, we're trying to do it more consistently now, where my man Mikey Sutton, who is a proven insider, does viewer questions, kind of viewer mailbag, like on the back of a comic book, right? You get your answer questions. And we drop scoops whenever we can. It's not as frequent as we do, but hopefully this Sunday we're going to be dropping some big stuff. And it's always fun to chat with the community, where I'm not hosting, where I could just go off and just fuck off, really.
There you go. All right, so we'll catch you on the next Defect Spec. Later, guys.